pay less in taxes? How can I keep more of my retirement money?
Welcome back, everybody, to the CD Financial Podcast, CD Financial, where health meets wealth. I'm Marcus C., your host. That man across from me is Chuck D. Chuck D, how you doing today, brother?
How are you doing? That's what I want to know. How you
I am doing
doing?
good. I'm doing good. I've got no complaints as of today, as of right now, for the next few minutes. I don't know. It's good. No complaints, man. No
Then
complaints.
strong we go. Strong
Yes,
we roll forward. That's it.
absolutely.
I'm
I will tell you this. We've gotten a lot of rain and sunshine mix here lately in Texas, and it's good. Makes everything green. Rain's green, but then you follow it up with sunshine. It's good for mental health, good for physical health. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling
good.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
here we start off with gray in the morning, and then we end up with sunshine in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we've discussed that, the whole weather person in Southern Cal. 72 and sunny today. Oh, wait. It'll be cloudy in the morning, 72 and sunny the rest of the day.
that's it. Right. That's it. Yeah.
If I had been born blonde, I might be a weather person in Southern Cal. Who knows?
Easy. We love blondes, brunettes, redheads, everybody. Okay.
Oh,
I
I'm just talking about
apologize
weather
for him,
people.
folks.
Oh my goodness.
If
All
I
right.
say
Well,
some of my best friends are blonde, that'll sound horrible. there's a young woman in my she's a girl, she's a teen, late teen, in
yeah.
my congregation, and she is legitimately blonde and thick haired, and she's like and she is what you would think. She's like Northern European, Scandinavian. Yeah, a good bit of it, and some Polish mixed in, which there also tend to be very blonde. I
Yep.
mean, takes one to know one. I'm half Slovak, right? My dad was really fair, and my aunt was a blonde, but my dad was a really light brown, sandy, thin haired. Anyway, yada yada yada. So there are some out there, right?
We
Legitimate.
we've all got blondes in our family. It's we joke because we care. We kid because we care, right?
You see all this gray hair on my beard. Most of this was blonde up to like 3-4 years ago. Yeah, so that's aging, folks. It'll get you. It'll get you. See, you can
it,
still see the blonde in my eyebrows quite a bit. Okay,
it gets everybody. It gets everybody. The gray, the age, it happens to all of us. All right. Since we're talking about things that are going to get us eventually, let's talk about maybe something that won't get us, and that's taxes, right? I mean, look, what do they say? Death and taxes, the two
those are two things
certainties,
you can
right?
count on,
Death and
right?
taxes.
Something from Ben Franklin or somebody else. Yeah,
Yeah,
or
I
some
probably read that.
colonialist. I can't remember now, but taxes will get you. They're
Yeah.
going to get you. You said they won't get you, but we can mitigate it. Let me
Well,
say
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Let's see how we can
Yeah,
mitigate it. They're
there
going to
you
get
go.
there, but let's see how we can. How
Yeah,
can I keep more? How can I keep more of my retirement money? That's what we're
bingo,
getting
bingo. That's it. Yeah,
at. All
how can
right.
I keep more? Yeah. So most of your money, let me just say that most of your retirement income, most Feds listening, your pension's fully taxable at 100%. Your TSP withdrawals, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, 457s, those funny little monkeys too, they're taxable. They were called tax deferred,
Yeah.
but now they're taxable. Social Security is a little bit better. Typically, only up to 85% of your Social Security will be taxed. Yeah, but your retirement savings accounts, they're usually the majority, the big majority, 85, 90, 95%, or if not 100%. It's very
Right.
common that they're all taxable because they were tax deferred.
Yeah. Let's talk about that tax deferred, because I think when you start planning, right, and you start thinking about your financial future, and you hear the term tax deferred, I think what we hear oftentimes is tax free, right? Because since it's happening later, deferred in my mind means, oh, it's not going to get me. So what do I need to know about tax deferred?
I like to keep it very, very simple here. Because when I used to hear the wording tax deferred, I would just check out. I'd be like, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about that, right? Tax deferred, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to defer that till later. So just think of it as taxed later. Okay. Deferral
Mhm.
means later. So you're taxed later. Well, the problem with being taxed later is not the actual income that you never paid taxes on, but it's all the other stuff that goes along with the income that you put in there that was never taxed.
Hmm. All right. Such as?
Thank you. That's why I'm cueing you. What's the other stuff,
Yes,
Charles?
yes.
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Marcus. What's the other stuff? It's called the growth. The growth is taxable. So it's not just the money that you put in there. The big snag to this all is
Mm-hmm.
the growth, because the growth is also going to be taxed. And you might have put 100,000 in, your employer put in 100,000 over your career, I don't know, 25 years or something. But your portion and their portion may have both grown, and now you have 350,000, they have 350,000, and you got 700,000. Hey, this
Not
is
bad.
tax now. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's all taxable.
Yeah.
Um, let me illustrate it this way, Marcus. Let me. Okay,
Yes.
so you've got, let's say you want to plant a garden
Okay.
and you don't have any seeds, you don't feel like going to the store, live out in the country and it's 40 minutes away, right, to your farm store, whatever it is. And your
Mm-hmm.
neighbor says, "That's okay. I got seeds for you and they're free. I just want some of the produce once it sprouts and it ripens." You go, "Okay, that's a fair deal." They say, "Here you go. Here's all the seeds you want." So you plant your seeds and they come in. Those cherry tomatoes, when you grow them yourself, because we had garden boxes in a house we lived in for 2 years in Santa Ana, and they
Mm-hmm.
were so sweet. It was almost like a fruit,
Yeah.
right? And it's the argument: is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable?
Yeah.
When they're cherry tomatoes, I'd argue they're probably a fruit, but they come in yellow, orange, and red. And I would just come in and pick them. Little Sophia would go out because she was a little girl at the time. She'd chomp on them, right? Delicious. By the way, your neighbor comes back to you and says, "Oh, for every dozen cherry tomatoes you pick, so for every containers, I
Yeah.
want one out of every four." And you're like, "That seems
Seems
like,
a little stiff for some seeds.
yeah." You say, "Well, hey, if you get cute with me," your neighbor says, "I'm going to take one out of every three." And you're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, slow down here, Kimosabi. What are you talking about?" This is and the better you do, the more tomatoes your vines grow, because those things became monstrous. They became
Yeah.
really big, and we didn't prune them, so they would just drape over the garden box and drop down onto the gravel that was along the
Here in
sides.
Texas, we have the same issue. I've grown tomatoes. They grow like crazy.
Yeah, and those cherry tomatoes, you've grown those?
Yep.
Yeah, and they vine out and they get really big and bushy, but they're delicious. So we just
Yeah.
left them alone, but you had to dig through them. They got so full, right? We had drip lines on them. It went great. But your neighbor says, "Oh, by the way, who is your neighbor in this illustration?"
He sounds a lot like the tax guy. I'm assuming that's where you were going with that.
Yeah, he is.
My
Yeah, the
dear
better,
uncle.
yeah, your uncle Sam. The better you do, the
Yeah.
better that the better they do.
Yeah.
So every time you have a bumper crop, they get more. And sometimes you'll go from 22 to 24 and maybe even higher. So, and then if you're in a state that taxes too, they're taking some of your tomatoes as
Yeah.
well. And you're
Yeah.
like, "Well, I thought I had I thought I had 10 and 12 of those containers of cherry tomatoes, right? Those little green plastic things, those little
Yeah.
rectangular square containers." And you're like, "No, no, no, you only got 7 of these guys."
Hmm.
What? What happened? So keep this clearly in mind. This is very important. If you want to keep more of your tomatoes, or as they say in Jersey, tomatoes. If you want to keep more of your tomatoes, then you want to make a plan so that you can keep more of your produce. And
Okay.
that's how it works. It's, would you rather pay tax on the seed or tax on the harvest?
I'd rather pay tax on seed, I think.
Yeah, right. So, it, right, you pay up front, or you pay now, or you pay later.
Yeah.
Pay now or pay later. Well, some of you are going to say, "Charles, it's too late for that." I'm
So
too old, and I wish you were around when I was 25 and 30.
yeah, where were you when I was 25? It's too late for me now, Charles. I'm too old. What now?
Okay. Well, I wish I was there for me at 25 or 30, right? But I wasn't. And if I could go back now from my age and implant that wisdom as well. But look, there is a way to get out of it.
Hmm.
And I would say that way is carefully. Carefully. You can set up a Roth. We could start to create a tax plan for you, and gradually you can escape it. Sometimes you might be surprised that gradually may not take as long as you think it does.
Yeah.
Gradually might be much faster than you had anticipated. And you say, well, it's too late for me now, Charles. I'm too old. I can't do it. That's just absolutely not true. What's the quote from Uruguay, Marcus? Because you say, oh, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Okay. Yeah. He says yesterday is history, tomorrow
Uh-huh.
is a mystery, but today is a gift.
That's why they call it the present.
That's why it's called the present. There it is. So, oh, by the way, folks, I'm cheating. I Googled it and I'm reading it. So,
See, I read it on a bathroom wall somewhere. I was going off memory, so I'm glad you have it there written.
yeah. So, listen, don't worry about yesterday. It's history, right? We're going to try to demystify tomorrow. So, Uruguay's not exactly right. But today is a gift because you're hearing this, some of you for the first time,
Yeah.
and it's not too late. Please don't just sit on your hands like so many 401k and TSP recipients, especially TSP. More so, believe it or not, more so, far more so, TSP recipients leave it at TSP because they trust the government, although the landscape certainly has changed.
Yep.
Yeah. And because of that, they just sit on it. But as we've said before, if you don't come up with a plan for your retirement, guess who will come up with a plan for your
Oh
retirement?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Your dear uncle will come up with a good plan that's very beneficial to him.
Yeah, and you could be in your 70s and say, "I don't want to take out that much money. I don't need that much money." And they're going to say, "That's nice. We don't care. This is how old you are. This is how much you're removing. We need
Yep.
our tax money." Right?
Yep.
Know that it is not too late. Today is the gift that you can start a plan, and you might be really surprised at how effective that can become, and
Yep.
you can start to keep more of your income. Did you know, Marcus, did you know
Hmm.
if we create a tax plan for you? Oh, look, right over my left shoulder. When we
Yep.
plan for retirement, we start with your income planning, then oh, there it is, then investment planning because I'm going backwards. And
Yep.
then the
Tax planning.
third piece we attack is tax planning. So many offices completely ignore this. It's because of a number of reasons. They get paid less because there's a assets under management fee, and they don't want to go down in their fee. Number two, it takes work and grit, and they don't
Got to
want to
roll up
work
your
harder
sleeves.
for less money, right? And number
Hmm.
three, they just may not have the know-how or the knowledge and the software to execute it effectively. And there's other landmines I'm not going to get into as you do it. But if it's done effectively, let's say the tail end is 3 to 5 years from now, okay?
Hmm.
You could drop taxes on your Social Security 35%. That's pretty cool.
That
There's
is
potential to do that. So it's something you don't want to ignore. We started this podcast episode with the theme pay less in taxes. How can I keep more of my retirement money?
right.
Get a plan in place. Get somebody who does tax planning. By all means, if you don't use us, use somebody that knows this. And if you're the one bringing up the subject of tax planning, that's not good. They
Yep.
should be bringing it up to you. And if they are, then you know there's somebody that's proficient and accustomed to this, and they'll be I'm the region the resident authority at the firm on this planning. And
Right.
believe me when I tell you, oh my, it could save you so much. it could potentially save you so much if you get it started. So yeah,
I'm,
everybody
I'm
wants
glad.
to go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that. No, I just want to reiterate what you just said, at least part of what you just said, because I think it's very important. You said talk to somebody. If it's not CD Financial, talk to somebody. But if they're not bringing up these things, then why are you going to them? I mean, you go to someone as an advisor because of their expertise. But if you're educating them, then I would definitely question immediately their expertise. At that point, maybe I am better off on my own. So you need to find someone who's going to talk to you about a tax plan, amongst other things, someone that has the answers, right? Someone that has that knowledge.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for.
Now, take this with a grain of salt because there's other factors that I'm not going to explain in here. But this morning, I
Mm-hmm.
spoke to somebody here in Southern California, Space Force and engineer, and she had saved up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 7 figures combined between spouses. And she's been with this firm for over 7 years. And I said, and it was from former 401ks. Now she has a TSP. And I said, how much of it remains in IRAs?
Mm-hmm.
Not Ross, but IRAs. And she said, all of it. And I said, with the landscape being so favorable for tax planning and historically tax rates being so low, I'd ask myself why that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, I'm asking you. That's why I'm talking to you. And I said, okay, then let's go ahead and schedule that 50-minute Zoom call because I think there's a miss there. And
Yep.
even if you're nibbling at it, you don't even have to take massive chunks, but nibbling away at it, that's huge, even, right?
Yep.
Overnight, I say overnight, but it takes time. But you know how time flies like this. You can have 6-figure income that's all yours, every dollar. One and done. Pay now, folks, or pay later. Okay? Get it
Yep.
done. Even now, you can pay now or pay later, right? There are factors and it is complex, but I'm going to tell you something. Get somebody on your side that does this for you. Got a
Yeah.
health tip for us, Marcus?
I sure do. And we're going to be talking mental health today. We do
Well, I could
physical and
use
mental.
that. So let's go.
You know what? It goes along with your Uguay quote of every day is a gift, right? And I'll tell you what brought this to mind. This is what made me think about this. Recently, you and I traveled without our wives, and one of the things that my wife, because I was going through a real tough time, and we've had family issues. Won't get into it. Different story for a different day. But one of the things she told me, she says, make sure you take some time just to appreciate life now as it is. She says, just especially because we were out in nature a lot. She said, just take some time to appreciate what you have today. And that's my health tip today is take time to appreciate now. A lot of times we get focused, and on this podcast, we're mostly talking about future, right? We're talking about retirement, we're talking about planning, we're talking about looking ahead. But sometimes you just have to stop and absorb the moment you're in. Enjoy the sunshine today. Enjoy the rain today. I don't know if it's raining or snowing or whatever where you're at. Enjoy that. Just take some time and enjoy what you have now. Enjoy the moment, and just appreciate life in general. It'll add so much. It helped me a lot. Just taking that break and just appreciating now helped me kind of not forget but process a lot of what's been going on in my life outside of these things. So take some time. Take some time every day to appreciate where you are, man. Every day is a gift.
Was that
That's why we call it the present.
That's right. Remember when we lived in Brooklyn and
Yeah,
anytime that Dan Sidlick would greet us in the morning, he'd say, and it would be pouring rain outside.
yeah.
And I would look outside and think it's 40 degrees and a hammering rain. And he would say, it's a beautiful day. It's good to be alive.
It's good to be
And,
alive.
and I thought, what? Right. And then I read his life story and I thought, oh, okay. Because his mom, Polish from, I think from Michigan, Detroit, probably.
Yeah,
And she would say, look, life's a gift. It's beautiful and it's great to be alive. And,
yeah,
recently having to deal with a near death experience, I was, I'm glad you reminded us all yet again life is a gift. It's beautiful.
yeah,
It's good to be alive. So glad every day I wake up in the morning. I thank my God for it. Thanks for
yeah.
the reminder, Marcus.
Absolutely, and thank you. I think it's a good good reminders. Appreciate where you are now, but plan for the future, obviously, and hopefully you get someone on your side that's going to help you keep more of your retirement money. Right? We like Uncle Sam. We're gonna do our part to take care of those things too, but we want to take care of us and our family. Right? That's
That's
very
right.
important. That's why we have a retirement plan in place. And if we want to do a Zoom call, you mentioned that earlier. What's the number?
Oh, 949-359-5100, 5100. We're going to start with a 15-minute phone call to see where you are and get your footing. And you just text your first and last name and your email,
Yeah.
and you'll get that complimentary phone call. That's a promise. We always come through,
Yep.
right? You may
Yep.
not, but we always do. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. Yeah.
We have a very proficient team there, so reach
Yes,
out
we
to
do.
us.
Yeah.
We're
There you
we're
go.
there for you. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in again. CD Financial Podcast, CD Financial, where health meets wealth. I'm Marcus C, your host. We appreciate your time. That man is Chuck D. Thanks again, everybody.